came all the way from Africa. Life has been a journey. Race, culture, color, and language. On Diaspora Chronicles, Agnes K. Frulich brings you Aggie's live talk show. On 99.2 FM, your home of African music. Radio Ara. This is Aggie's live talk show. 99.2 FM. This is Radio Ara. Home of African music.
Welcome today. It's on a Sunday. It's Aggie's Live Talk Show on Radio RFM in Stuttgart, Germany. I'm welcoming you to talk about a topic that I think is very essential. We've talked about so many other topics and themes concerning life in diaspora and concerning Africans everywhere. And I'm happy today to have you today to talk about this topic, listening to our kids. That means it's just not about the parents, even people who are planning to have children in the future, or even you may not be planning, but later you may be having children and you may need also to think about this topic. So you're welcome and join us and let's talk and reason together. You are on Aggie's Live Talk Show on Radio RFM in Germany, Stuttgart, Germany. Is the best ever. Europe's number one African station for Afronews, Afrobeats, and the world hits, and so many things that concern African diaspora anywhere in Germany and everywhere in the world. Welcome so much. We look forward to sharing with you. Feel free to call us in studio. You can write down the number if you want to call us, 0163 728 6573. 0163 728 6573. So let's talk and reason together.
99.2 FM. This is Radio Ara. Home of African music. .2 FM. This is Radio Ara. Home of African music.
Welcome from Nigeria. I hope you're having a great time in Nigeria. I hope the weather is favoring you in Nigeria because we are suffering the cold now. It's come back to us and we cannot run away. We are here. So we better have hot topics to keep us warm because the weather outside there is not so nice. So I hope yours is nice. Dumba Boy Sim, you're saying it's been a while, Aggie. You're welcome to join me and I'm glad that you're here. I'm sure you're in Kenya or wherever you are. Are you in Kenya, Dumba Boy? Let me know. And thank you that you're back again after a long time. I look forward to sharing this topic with you, and also I look forward to hearing what you think about listening to our kids. Currently, we have issues in Kenya from many schools. They say for some time now, up to now, about 200 schools has been burned by students, and right now it's like a wave going around Kenya that children are burning houses, schools, and you can imagine how many millions of shillings get down to ashes. And I think one of the main reasons is because we don't talk to our children. It's somehow part of our African culture that parents don't listen to the children. Sometimes we think they're too young, they don't have anything to tell us, but we're gonna talk about that. So remember, you're listening to Radio RFM, Europe's #1 African station, home of African music. And if you need to do some advertisements, just contact Radio RFM in Stuttgart, and just get in touch with us. If you have missed some of our shows, go to visit www.c.radio.com and just try to get to the click and listen and watch live, and then you'll get all the things that you've passed. We have so many goodies, we have so many things that have been talked about in the past. And if you need to know where the studio is, it's in Stockholm Straße 16 or Street 16A in 70190 Stuttgart, Germany. And you can also email us, it's all on the screen, so get in touch. You can find Radio RFM on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and also just on our homepage. And we have also ways you can subscribe, and you can follow on TikTok as well. My goodness, we are very advanced. And again, if you want to call us or in studio and talk with us and discuss with us or give your input on topics that we're dealing with, go to, or you can call on 0163-728-6573. So everybody who is willing to listen, Tracy Kadada, you are there from Kenya. Wow. And a very strong lady. She's working with Mustard Seed Children's Home and having a lot of children, or guided a lot of children. I think this is a topic also that is very important, and you know out of experience how important it is to listen to children. I'm glad you're part of this topic. Tracy Kadada from Kenya, I'm greeting you, and greet the children from me because I know them. I love children. So listening to our children is our topic today, and I hope you're going to give a lot of insights so we can share with each other and encourage each other and show us how important it is to talk to our children.
99.22 FM. This is Radio Ara. This is Radio Ara, home of African music.
This is the blackest man in black Africa, Uncle Fred Obachi Machoka. Listen to 99.2 FM Radio R. Wawa.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are there, and I think it's something that we need to talk about because it's so important and it's so vital. It's so precious. Our children are like gold. For some of us, we would invest anything to make sure that our children are safe and they are happy and they are taken well care of. And we go to a lot of a big length to make sure that they have everything. We give them food, we give them place to sleep, we give them nice clothes, we make sure that they are wearing clean clothes, and the mothers, they can sing a song about that, how much they are doing to make sure that their children are happy. And also the fathers, they will go work, and sometimes the whole month's salaries are given out to pay their school fees, or even to take them to the university, or to take them to different institutions where they need to go and further their studies. So parents actually give a lot to make sure that their children are taken care of. But sometimes we are too busy, we are working a lot, we are running up and down, we are giving our best and really investing a lot of strength and money and resources in making these children happy. But what about what moves the children? How much do we listen to them? How much do we listen to their worries? How much do we listen to what is moving them? Because this is also a very vital part of bringing up children. Bringing up children is not just paying school fees. Children need more than just paid school fees. Of course, this is important. Of course, this is very vital, that they have nice shoes, that they have nice clothes, that they have a clean place to live, that they have clean clothes to wear, they have every other thing that they need. But how about talking and listening to their children? How have you been doing that as a parent? How have you experienced that as a child to your parents? How did it go until now? How did you experience that? Did your parents listen to you? Did your parents ignore your talking, trying to talk or to share what is moving you? Have you what is that your experience? How did it go for you as a child? How is it going for you as a parent? How are you dealing with that need? I mean, the communication, we say in every relationship, a communication is very important, not just when we are in love with somebody, but also with our children. They need also to be listened to. So how do we go about it? How do we go about it? And what is the meaning of listening to our children? What is that? What does that mean? I think children are just, they are not stones, they are not objects that we just put there and they have to do what we want. They don't have to, or they just have to answer to what we ask and not say their own thing. I mean, stones, you can take a stone, you can take an object and you talk with the object, it will not answer, it will take up maybe what you're saying. Or you can talk into a recording cassette, or you can take an object which records. You can tell them and give instructions, it will record, but it can not give you back what you have said. It cannot question your motives, it cannot question why you wanted to do that or to record or whatever. And sometimes we deal with children like these objects. We deal with them like they are objects. I mean, they are there, but they have no opinions of their own. And that, I find it is a very tricky situation, because children are human beings. They are miniatures of us sometimes. You will find sometimes for children, some of them, they are either like Papa, you'll say, this child, this so talking like the mother, or like the father. Sometimes they're just miniatures of us. They're small children, but they have also things to share. In German, you would say, die wollen sich auch mitteilen. Or in English, of course, how do you say this? They want to communicate. They also have some things that move them that they would like to communicate, because they are not stones, they are not objects, they are not a recorder which only records what we tell them. They also have their own things that they would like to share with us or talk with us. So how much do we deal with that? Do we ignore it, or do we take it serious? How do we deal with that need to communicate? Because children do communicate. It would be nice to hear your views about that. How have you dealt with that? I mean, communication means it's a two-way thing. It's not just one-way thing. Okay, when we talk about communicating with God, for those who are believers, it's a bit difficult, because He doesn't answer right away, or like audibly, that you can hear Him, with His loud voice and whatever. But He somehow communicates on His own way. But children, they are human like us, but they are small. So communication means talking with them and also respecting what they have to say. It doesn't mean that I have to obey what they are saying. It doesn't mean that I have to do exactly what they are saying, but they have a right to be listened to. I think that's a very big thing that we need to realize. Talking or listening to the children is allowing them to communicate with us, allowing them to air their views with us, allowing them even to question our commands. This is something very sensitive for us as African parents, because we are not used to that. When you say something, you want your child to listen and say, almost like say hafande and go and do what you want them to do. We do not allow so much of discussions. We do not allow so much of reasoning. A child should reason with you. If there are some people doing that, I think there's new generation, the Kababa and Kamami generation, those who are used to, the democratic way of thinking. I do not know if any of us in my generation, if any of us has practiced that you give your child a chance to reason with you, a chance to talk with you and tell you what they are going through. Or sometimes you tell them, oh, you have now to go and do the dishes, and you expect that child to go actually and do it, but you don't expect that child to ask you, why do I have to go and do the dishes? Why can't you do it? I mean, this is something that is in our culture, is not very common, and it's very uncomfortable if a child decides now to be questioning the things that you tell them to do. But I think it's also very important that they have that freedom to question sometimes, or even to talk, not to talk back the way we talk. You think it's with disrespect. This should be avoided. I think they still have to have a feeling that even if they talk, they can talk with us. It is not bad for them to talk with us, but not to talk at us, like commanding us or disrespecting the parent. But they need to have a feeling like, I can talk with my mommy, I can talk with my father, I can open up, I can question things, I can reason with them, I can, sometimes things that I don't understand, I can ask and dig a bit more to understand what is the purpose of this, what I'm supposed to do. Like, if you tell a child to do something, sometimes they don't understand, why do I have to do it? And even if I have to do it, why now? Why not later? Why not 2 hours later? Why not 3 hours later? So I think some of us have experienced that. If you bring up children in Europe or in the Western world, I think some of us have experienced that, because the upbringing is different, and because they learn you actually can go against your parent. You can actually talk against your parent, and if you have something, a legal stand, you even can take your parent to jail or to the police. And so I think in the West, in diaspora, it's even more challenging, because the children here learn in kindergarten. I remember when my son went to kindergarten, the first thing he was told is how to talk with me at home, and that if I don't listen to him and if I do something that he doesn't like, he has a right to bring me to the police or to call the police. And I'm like, this kid, I'm even helping him to dress in the morning. I'm helping him to make his food and whatever, and he's being told he can take me to court or to the police. So it becomes even a bit difficult now, because you don't know what this child is being told out there in the kindergarten, in school. You do not know. That's why it's also very important for us parents in the diaspora to take care how we communicate with our children. Some things, like, there's some of us, we are very temperamentful. We are very aggressive, or we have a lot of temperament, and we may say some things, and this in the ears of a Western person, a German, it sounds like you are psychologically sick and unstable as a parent. It can cause you even to send a psychologist to you, or even call the Jugendamt. The Jugendamt is a child care department in Germany. They could send, because of how we talk sometimes, how we communicate. Maybe we may not mean it, but you can say, this child, this thing, I will kill you, I will do whatever. You don't mean it, but it's because of how we are used to talking that we forget the communication part can be very, very tricky. So when you tell the child, remember it's a child who also has been taught to answer back, to reason with you, or even he has a connection somewhere else where they can go and give the information that you just give. So, I mean, communicating is important, but be very careful how you communicate, because you can land yourself in deep trouble. We've had issues of parents who suddenly they get their children taken away because of things they don't understand. I mean, like, they're like, I didn't beat my child. I mean, I only screamed at the child, you know. Oh, and then you realize that this person doesn't realize in some context, even screaming is considered as abuse. And depending on what you're telling that child, you know, and the child has a right even to ask you at that time, or to tell you to stop, even as a parent, because you're hurting that child. The connection, the communication there is on one side, and that child is feeling attacked and in danger. So they may even take those words, what you say, and they will go and tell the institution, the teacher or the kindergarten, and before you know it, you're landing in court to discuss the words you told your child at home. So the communication is very important. How we listen to our children. If you realize that your child wants to tell you something, don't brush it off. It is very important. It's very important to listen to our children, and it's very important what we communicate with our children as well. And then to remember that they are human. They are thinking. They are developing their communication skills. They are learning from our outbursts, our screaming, how we solve issues. They are learning. They are not just there like stones. You know, this is one thing I think we have a problem with. We forget that these are children, and they are children, yes, but they are miniature beings. They are human beings. They are developing. They are learning communication skills. They are learning parenting. They are learning how to deal with issues in the family. They are learning how even to cook, whatever. You're communicating on a very constant way. You're communicating with the children, and they have a right to ask questions. They have a right to ask where they don't understand. They have a right to say their opinion. A child saying an opinion doesn't mean that that child is disrespecting you. Because I think that's where you can, if the child may be asked in a way that you feel is disrespecting, you can deal in a normal way with him and explain that you would rather have it said this way. But let that child know that it has a right to talk. It has a chance, a platform to talk with you. Because you know what happens is when this child doesn't get the chance, or that feeling, my mama listens to me or my papa listens to me, you know, because a child is a human being, is a communicative being, he's going to look for channels where he can communicate. If you don't listen to him, if you don't let him communicate with you, if you don't let him talk to you, if you don't listen in some way, this child is going to find a channel. And today we have many channels. We have internet. We have, if it's that teacher in kindergarten, if it's, they have even social workers, sometimes in kindergarten, sometimes in schools here in diaspora. They have that person. And they have the teacher. They have maybe a child, a friend, who they may share the problem with. And before you know it, it's even at the mothers or the parents of these other children. And before you know it, it's even the topic of the village. And before you know it, it's even gone further than you wanted, just because you did not listen to your child. Just because you did not give your child a chance to know, my mother listens to me, my daddy listens to me. And I'm talking mother and daddy because it's not, I mean, parenting is not only for the mothers. We have also that hiccup sometimes in our communities that children are to be brought up by women only. Some men are learning that, and they are getting involved intensively in bringing up their children, especially boys. They are looking up at their daddies and learning a lot what it is to be a man. You're communicating, constantly communicating as a man. If you're someone who bashes your wife, if you're someone who doesn't listen, that boy is learning you don't need to listen to a woman. I mean, she has nothing to say. That boy is learning you're communicating with body language. You're communicating with what you say. You're communicating with what you do in the family. So as a man, be there and let the child learn from you. Let the child realize that you are there for that child. And listening doesn't always mean only taking hours to listen. It means also just being present. Just being present is so important, and it can help a child very, very, very much.
Yesu akuokoe, furaha ya maisha, siyo kutenda dhambi, acha uovu wako. Yesu akuokoe. Neno lake lasema, katupenda kwa dhati, kamtoa mwanawe, aje kutuokoa. Neno lake lasema, katupenda kwa dhati, kamtoa mwanawe, aje kutuokoa.
99.2 FM. This is Radio Ara. This is Radio Ara, home of African music.
Neno umesikia, sijifanye kiziwi, nenda ukalitende, sipoteze wakati. Neno lake lasema, katupenda kwa dhati, kamtoa mwanawe, aje kutuokoa. Neno lake lasema, katupenda kwa dhati, kamtoa mwanawe, aje kutuokoa. Neno lake lasema, katupenda kwa dhati, kamtoa mwanawe, aje kutuokoa.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's something that is so vital. Communication is not just talking. Communication means we are communicative in every minute, actually. When I'm there with someone and I'm not talking, it means I just don't feel like talking right now. So the other person maybe not have heard words saying, don't talk to me right now, but the facial expression, the way I'm looking at them, the way I'm moving around, people can see, am I willing to talk at that time or not? You know, am I in the mood to connect right now with someone, talk with someone or not? Tracy Kadada, you are having the children's home in Nairobi, or Rongai actually. Rongai, I think Gong actually, you're based in Gong, and you have children, and I have experienced this you have the mustard seed angels of Kenya. The children also who helped me a lot when I was filming my song Neno. I love those children, and I realized that you take a lot of time to listen to them. This is something so good for the children because they learn they are important. When you listen to children, you learn that they're important. Their word counts. What they have to say counts. Even if just alone the gesture of listening to a child, it tells them you are important to me. You are worthy to be listened to. Your word is important to be listened to. Because look, I mean, outside there we sometimes listen to people talking nonsense. I mean, look at the people we're listening on social media. My goodness. Sometimes I think, what type of junk are we listening? And we listen. We react even to them. We write the comments. We are reacting to them. And our children, those lovely beings who live with us in the house, we may not even give them even an inch of that attention we give to these people talking rubbish out there. So it's just a reminder for parents. It is so important what you talk with your child, what platform you give your child to communicate. And I'm thinking about all this burning of the dorms or the classes or the schools in Kenya, and I'm thinking, can it be a problem of communication? Could it be that the school doesn't listen to them? Could it be that the parents ignore and trivialize their needs, their wishes, their fears, their needs actually? And you know the schools, especially boardings, you have to obey. It's like a camp, it's a boot camp for behaviors. I'm not saying that the children should not be disciplined. I'm not saying that the children should not be shown or guided how to live and how to learn. I'm not saying they should not have a time frame when they have to wake up and when they have to study, when they have to go to this and that. I'm saying that they need to be listened to as well. And sometimes when this builds up so much and they realize no one is listening anyway, sometimes they do it out of frustration. Because someone was saying is those burning the schools are mostly children who are spoiled, who come from rich families, who are not the Kababa and Kamama generation. This is, in Kenya, this is a term used for children spoiled by their parents. The children who have the say in their houses. the parents they dance to their tunes. When they say, Mama, I want to eat pizza today, Mama runs and buys pizza. If they say, Papa, I want to wear Nike, and Papa runs and buys Nike, and so on and so on. So this is the Kababa generation. But do you think all these schools are full of Kababa generation? I don't think so. It's not only Kababas or the Kamamas who are there, but sometimes lack of communication can bring all these issues. Even sometimes we've heard of children committing suicide, and this is really sad. I think the youngest I've heard here in Germany was an 11-year-old who committed suicide and left a note. And I saw also once a young child, I think this girl was 8 or 9, and she even left a letter to the parent to show that she was not listened to. No one listened to her cry. And while I was listening, also looking at these stories of the schools, there was a girl, she died in school because no one took her serious. She wanted to be taken to the hospital. She wanted to go back home to be treated better. And the school actually told her, oh, you're just too sensitive. Just wait. Just be patient. The disease will go on itself. She went to the hospital and was taken back to the dorm to wait in the dormitory to get well. And she died there in the bedroom, in the dormitory alone, although she had a family who could have been with her at that time. And I think in that case, it would have helped if someone would have listened to her. Such things are very painful to hear because sometimes we don't listen, and it can be a lifesaver. It can be a life-saving experience for the child, for the young person to be listened to. It's not always that they are talking rubbish. I mean, we know some children may talk rubbish and all that, but give them the chance to talk, and then you can determine if it is nonsense or not. But the fact that, like if you have a bottle of Coke and you shake it and just you don't open it, you're just shaking it all the time and you're not opening it. The moment you're going to open it, it's going to to wash you or explode or whatever. And this is the same with the children. Our children, if you let them bottle up all the frustrations of not being listened, there's nothing good that's coming out of it. It's gonna be hard for them to deal with the situation, and the things that will come out of it is not going to be very easy to deal with. The things that's where you will find things like these suicide stories from children. You'll find suicidal stories. You find children who are running amok. We don't have that so much in Africa, but we have it in the Western world so much. I do not know why, actually, because in the Western world, children are given a bigger platform to reason and to talk, but I do not know why. But it is also sometimes a reason of not being listened to. No one is caring, no one is seeing what is happening to that young person. So it is very important for the children to be listened to. Some of the psychological disorders our children have could have been taken care of or averted, or even, we say prevention is better than cure. It could have been prevented for this child to get deep into this psychological situation if someone was there to listen to them. So at times we think, the teachers have to do the duties or whatever, but it's not just the teacher's job. The parents, we need to be talking to our children. We need to be listening to our children. Not just talking. I mean, sometimes I catch myself with my 15-year-old when I'm really agitated and I want him to do it what I want, to do the way I want it. And I forget myself and I'm talking, and he's there like, he doesn't say anything. He's like, okay, talk when you're finished. We are done. And then I realize this sometimes and I ask, why are you just standing there not saying anything? And he says, Mom, this is an unnecessary conversation. And sometimes it's very frustrating, but it is so important. Then I tell him, I have to talk because as a mother, I have the need to tell you why I said you should not do this and that. Okay, sometimes you talk so much. Okay, but sometimes we don't give them a chance to talk. Sometimes I'm so into my complaint that I forget he's also able to talk. He can also tell me why he's doing what he's doing. He's also able to tell me why he did not do what I wanted him to do. But I don't give him a chance because I'm so agitated and I'm talking and blah, blah, blah. And I'm using my cleverest words to explain to this young man that he has to do what mama says he has to do. And I forget that he has a mouth as well. He has a brain as well. And he has also reasoning. He can think logically. It doesn't mean that I will agree with his reasoning, but I need to give him a chance to talk. So I'm wondering how we do it back home. How are we doing it back home? Have we been giving our children that chance, that platform? Have we been giving our children that platform? Let's think about it.
Is your heart broken?
99.22 FM. This is Radio Ara. Radio Ara, home of African music.
Healer of all souls. Healer of my soul. Healer, Jesus, healer. Healer of my soul. Healer of my soul. Of my soul. He's my healer, he's my healer, he's my healer, Jesus is my healer. He's my healer, he's my healer, he's my healer, Jesus is my healer. He's your healer, he's your healer, he's your healer, Jesus is your healer. He's your healer, he's your healer, he's your healer, Jesus is your healer. Healer of my soul. Healer, Jesus, healer. Healer of my soul.
This is the blackest man in Black Africa, Uncle Fred Obachi Machoka. Listen to 99.2 FM Radio R.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very important thing to listen and give our children a platform. If you think about your childhood, if you think about how you grew up, how was it with your childhood? Did your parents let you talk? Did your parents let you reason with them? Did they let you even question some of the commands you got? You may not have experienced that, but you can learn it. What is so important about listening? Because you feel you're taken as an important person. You feel understood. When you can explain why you're not doing what you're doing right now, I think it's easier for you even to understand why the other person wants you to do it. And it's easier. It just eases the atmosphere. It eases the situation at home. I would say it eases a lot of things. Just like even when you're married and you need to talk with your partner. I mean, you cannot just be looking at each other and just giving each other commandos. Do this, do that, give me that, don't give me that, don't do that, and all that. I mean, what is that? And even with the children, it's a relationship. It's not a relationship like with your partner, but it's a relationship. It's two beings, human beings communicating. It's human beings relating with each other, and communication on both sides, from both directions, is so important. And that's something I came to realize we didn't have much. And my parents were not very communicative. My dad would talk more when he was a bit tipsy. Then he will talk and tell me stories, and I love this time. I mean, actually, it was not good when he was tipsy, but he liked. Then he could talk. He could be out. He could talk more about his past. He could talk more about whatever. But I think you don't have to wait as a parent to be tipsy to talk with your children. I think it's something that you have to cultivate on a daily basis. My mom also was a very quiet person. I wonder, people say that opposites attract each other, but I don't think it's always working, because my mother and my dad were more quiet, and when they both had one or two drinks, then hell broke loose, and this one was talking here, the other one was talking there, and so on. And this was also another level of communicating. If this is the only way you communicate with your children, my dear, I don't know if it is very wise, because the things you say when you're tipsy are not always controlled. So it is always better to try to listen when you are still sober, because then also you can reason better with your children. And we have also to be careful, especially when you're communicating with your children or when you're dealing with your children, not to be tipsy at home. And because it may go wrong, on the wrong direction. You may talk about things that you don't want to talk about when children are around, and you don't want maybe to communicate with them in that way. I've heard of children who are totally scared of their fathers, because when the father comes home, he's like a lion. He's like he's going to maul them, to finish them when he's at home. So when such fathers come home, the children hush, and the wife runs to the kitchen, the children, they go to the bedroom, and the father is left in the living room like the king. No one is talking with him because everybody is afraid of him. My friend, such a man or such a woman, no one will want even to be near them. So how are you going to listen to your children when you are the lion? I mean, really looking dangerous and acting dangerous at home. Your children will not be free to come and talk with you. Even if you would like to listen, they will not open up because they're scared of you. Be that friend. I'm not saying that you lose or release your authority as a parent, because that's also very important for us, the authority, the African setting, the authority of the parents. When you say it's A, it's A. When you say it's B, it's B, and no one has to question that. Okay, I have no problem with that, as long as you do it in love, as long as you do it with understanding. But if you're doing it only like the lion you are, and everybody is like, yeah, baba, yeah, mama, this is not communication. This is just like you're in the army, and if this child or this young person has deeper issues, this person will not come to you to tell you what is eating them. You will hear it in the community, you'll hear it from friends, you'll hear it when he has done something stupid or something bad, and you will be wondering why I was always at home and the child did not tell me anything. I did not know this was happening. Yeah, because this child did not have a platform with you. He did not have a chance. He knew that he will not be listened to, or he is so scared, or she is so scared to even come to your presence. Let's talk openly. I mean, even some wives are scared of coming in front of their husbands. I don't know what they do in the bedroom. I mean, if they are scared even to talk with each other on normal issues. But if a child experiences that the mother is scared of the partner, or the other way around, you think the child also will have the courage to come to the same person to talk about what is moving them, what is eating them. Some children are being molested sometimes in schools or by friends. Or I had a case also where a girl was molested after going for a sleepover at a friend's home, a small girl of 10 years. And this child could not talk to her mother about the issue right away. This is tragic. This is so sad. If the child learns, whatever I tell my mother, she will not listen, then that child will not tell you. And it's a tragic thing, because actually you should be the refuge for that kid. If something happens out there and the child cannot come and tell you, where else, my goodness, where else can that child go to? The children need to know that they're being listened to at home. No matter what rubbish they have to explain, let them tell him. Even sometimes you don't have a rhyme of what. Sometimes my son will come to me and explain to me the game he's playing on internet, and I have no idea, but I listen. And then you can see me as, like German says, wie ein Kuh vorm Berg, like a cow in front of a mountain, and it doesn't know how it is supposed to climb there. But I listen. I try to listen even if I don't understand. And sometimes we have to swallow our pride as parents and listen. I have had several cases where even the child is being molested, sexually molested. It happens a lot in families where you bring your children into a marriage or into a relationship like this. Come we stay, there are some pedophile people who sort out or spot women with children, with girl children, because they know they don't have another way access to the children, the girls. They get the mother, pretend to love the mother, but actually what they want, they target the guy is the girl. So they come into the family, live in the family, and then they start molesting that girl sexually. Now, imagine this case, if the girl is not used to talking about the deepest things with the mother, if the girl knows that mama doesn't listen to me, or if the girl knows the mother will feel threatened by the girl if she talks about this issue going on, then the girl will not talk. And in this case, the girl did not talk for so long. The girl did not talk, but because she had a feeling the mother would not listen. Or maybe she experienced before that the mother has just rubbed off her trials to communicate something important, or her trials to communicate something even if it's not important. So at this important part, she just discovered it because she came home early and caught the father at the act of this molestation. That's the only thing that saved the situation. And this should not come that far. What if it would have taken years? What if that child would have been destroyed completely because there was no communication, because the child did not feel that it can be listened to by the parents? Ladies and gentlemen, let's be learning to listen to our children, and not just listening. Let's give them that feeling, we are here for you, we are listening. I am here for you, I am listening, I'm feeling you. In some cases, we've had also children being molested in school or being bullied in school, and they don't talk back home. It happens a lot in this Western world where our children of color, they get mistreated sometimes by classmates, maybe on the way, not necessarily in the school compound, but outside, because these naughty children or bullies, they know sometimes if they do it in school they're going to get apprehended, but they do it then on the way to going to home. So some of the boys, especially boys, they will not feel free to talk. But I say, if the father is an open person, if the father has showed the boy it is okay sometimes to feel weak, it is okay sometimes to just open up if you're suffering about something, that boy will go to the father and maybe talk about the issue, and then you can help easily, So communication is so important. Listening to your children is so important. It can save the child from so many situations. So ask yourself, do you know what is going on in your children's life? In school, at home? Is that child at home, really? At home, in his life or her life? Is that child at home? Is that child feeling well taken care of? Is that child feeling seriously accepted? Or do you value what the child has to say? Or you think, it's just a child, this kid, 7 years, 5 years, 1 year, 2 years, but especially the issues of molestation, please, we need to create a very, very good atmosphere for the children to be able to talk about even such issues. I mean, there are issues of shame. Sometimes the child even may think it's its own fault that it's being mistreated, or it may think it's normal. But if you as a child, you've built bridges with that child, you've built a communication channel with that child, I don't think a child will keep quiet about such things, because that child knows you are a safe haven for the child. It knows that, or the child knows, if I go to my mama, she's going to take that serious. So let's listen to our children. Let's reason today. How have I been doing it? How have I been listening to my child? Have I communicated to my child that his words, what he has to say, what she has to say, it's important. And I'm not talking of listen only to the teenagers, listen only to the others, but as we continue, just ask yourself, how have I been communicating with my children?
To the Lord, your Lord has come to save you. Why don't you see?
99.22 FM. This is Radio R. This is Radio R. Home of African music.
Why don't you see? Africa, God's people. Africa, blessed people. Africa, God's children. Yes, yes, to the Lord. Yes, yes, to Jesus. Yes, yes, to the Lord. Yes, yes, to Jesus.
gentlemen, as I said, we need to have our children know that we are listening. And the issue is, how do we do that? How do we do that? Or even why do that? Because you can avoid a lot of ugly situations at home and in your children's life if the child knew that it's being taken serious. If the child knew it's being taken serious, if the child knew that Mama is always having a listening ear for me, and Papa is always having an open, a listening ear for me, and what I say is not just, rushed or brushed off. Some of us, we are so busy. I understand, parents, we are so busy. Sometimes you're trying to make ends meet. You're working 2, 3, 4 jobs. You're tired. You're finished completely. And when you come home, you don't have time. You're just aggressive, or you yourself, you're feeling completely fatigued and you don't have the chance to talk. I mean, why not make a day? I used to do this when my children were smaller. I used to have a date with one of my children. Because I raised 5 children, and of course when you have 5 children, you're running 24/7. And they are very close in age right now. I mean, even when they were growing up, so it was really a challenge to make every child taken serious, or even the attention, to give the amount of attention that a child needs. So it was really a way of balancing. I'm someone who likes reading a lot and trying to do things right. I know I cannot do everything right, and no parent on this planet will ever do everything right. We will always, sometimes we learn later, we are always clever than we were yesterday, So sometimes we don't have the time, we just don't have the strength. But maybe you make a date where you take a day out, where you go with one of the children. It doesn't have to be an expensive thing. You can go with that child, maybe set a certain amount of money aside and go with that child for an outing, go to McDonald's. I mean, it's junk food, yes, but I mean, once in a while it's not so bad. Or you choose, or you let the child choose. Sometimes I would let the child choose and say, we have this budget. This is what I want to use on that day. What can we do? And then we would do something with the children until a certain age. At a certain age, they don't want anymore. So, but at that time, it was very nice. And for me, I had a feeling, at least I'm giving that child a feeling that he's important for me. He's special for me. And there we would talk about everything. I mean, anything and everything. Okay, later I realized there are some things still they did not talk, but there were other reasons for that. But I had a feeling we had a very good relationship because of that, my opinion, and that's what they say themselves. But I think when you have many children, it's even more a challenge, because you're just one mama and you have to divide yourself, and you're still a wife and you still have a lot of other things to do. But if your children are important, if you want them to grow healthy, then it is important for you to take time and talk with them and give them that chance to feel valued as a person, and that what they need to say or they have to say to feel that it's also valued. So like I said, the how you do it, take time with that child, one child at a time. If you have many children, even if you don't have many children, and you can, if you have 2 children, it's also good to make those outings. Go with one child alone, mama's date. And then if you have a man in your family, he should also have a time with that child to be, because the child needs both sides, and it is good to have the balance. It is good to have that balance, to the time that the child spends with the parents. The other thing is the evening times. We used a lot of time in the evening when the children would go to sleep. We would go to every child's room and maybe read a story, and then pray with them. At least to pray, we went to their rooms, and before they slept, we would pray with them, or even listen a bit what they experienced during the day. One of us would do that. If my husband was home, we did that. We shared, And again, every week, because we had 5 children, we had to do a timetable. Yeah, the things you do when you have many children. Now, when you're getting children, don't get more than 7, because a week has only 7 days. Yeah. So at least you have Monday, through the week. Oh my God, yeah. So with my 5 children, I'm laughing because it sounds funny right now. We had every child has a day when mama or papa went to their room, maybe to talk a bit, not just the prayer and the reading of the book, but we also would then take time for that child and take more time, extra time, so that the child feels it's taken care of. So there's so many ways you can manage that. If you have really no energy and you have no time because you have to work a lot, especially single moms, you have a lot of challenge there because you are alone. You're stemming the duties of a father and a mother alone, and you have to earn money, you have to make sure the house is running, you have to take care of the needs of your children emotionally in every aspect. It is really, really challenging. Now, this is the issue where you have to involve even people outside. We have godparents. Like here in Germany, you have godparents or parents. I don't know, in Kenya also you can have godparents. Those are people who you have as mentors for your child, or in case something happens to you, these people will support that child. So make sure that it's a correct person. Not just anybody is fitting to be a godparent for your child. Let these godparents also have time with your children, so that the children also have somebody also outside the family to talk about some issues. Sometimes some children are shy to talk about some issues, especially the older they get, to talk with the parents. But through the godparents, you can get a bit of information what is going on in your children's lives. This is something that I find very, very beneficial, actually. Or use uncles, aunties. If you have a close-knit family, if you have people you can trust in your family, you can do that. But I would be very careful about that, because you don't know who means it well with your family, or who is not going to take advantage of the information he's getting from the child to ruin your family. So you really have to be very, very wise on that. You cannot just go trusting everybody with your child, because children are innocent mostly. They may talk about everything. The other day I saw my mother do this to papa, or papa do this to mama, and before you know it, the whole family, an extended family, is aware of troubles and misukosuko in your family. I mean, like, they are seeing the downfall of your family. So you have to be very careful who you're getting involved in your family, in that case. I mean, it's not easy to raise children. It's not easy to raise children. So people like Tracy Kadada with her children there in Kenya, the Mustard Seed Angels of Kenya. By the way, they need a lot of support. They have a Facebook page also, Mustard Seed Supporters. I think it's called Supporters of Mustard Seed Angels of Kenya, and you can join there. You can also join Tracy Kadada online on Facebook. I don't know if she's on Instagram, but she calls herself Tracy Kadada also on Facebook. So if you have something you would like to help this family with, she takes children from the streets and also young mothers who have been in situations, and she takes them up and lives with them in her own house, and tries to support them through support from other people, or even she tries to do small jobs to support those children. I know it's very challenging for her. I have been to that home. We supported sometimes once in a while, and I think it's a very worthy cause what she's doing. So if you want to support Tracy Kadada, and she lives in Kenya, in Ngong. If you want to support her, you also can search her up in Facebook and get in touch with her to help Mustard Seed Angels of Kenya. It's a challenge. I mean, even living with your own children is a challenge, and living with children from outside is also a bigger challenge. And that's where I think it is also, I am a foster mom, I am an adoptive mom, I adopted and I foster children, and I know that's also a special case where listening to children can be very difficult, because these are, especially in German situation, you're not only having your own children, these children have also information from outside, or they have another place also. So your information, what you share in this family, is not enclosed in your family alone. There's also the birth family of those children who are involved. So the communicating part becomes even more difficult. In that case, I would say you have to look for ways to do it in an amicable way, in a friendly way, but also remain objective. Still remain friendly to the child. Still remain putting that child's needs in the center, not the needs of the uncles or the aunties of the birth family, but that child, because it can be really tricky and it can be very, very disturbing. Because I experienced that sometimes. I had actually a very smooth relationship with the parents of my children, but at times also it was not easy, and I had to choose how to deal with the information coming from the other side. I listen to my children, even if they are also being told things from the other side. But I had to decide, or we had to decide as parents, what to take as serious, and how to support our children so that they grow in a way that they know they are taken serious, they are valued. And for me, it's important what the children feel, what the children realize, what message I'm sending to them. Are they valued? Are they loved? Are they taken care of? It's not just the issue of clothes. It's not only an issue of school fees or school materials. It's not only an issue of looking good or not looking good. It's an issue of, is that child fully, wholly taken care of? I mean, it's not just one-sided thing. So as we talk on about this, remember it is about the child. We are talking about the child now here. Because parents, we have, even if we are having problems, we also have ways of dealing with that issue for ourselves. But the children normally have mostly only you as a parent, you as a mother, you as a father. You should be the first address where they can come and bring their sentiments, bring their worries, bring their fears, bring their doubts, everything that is troubling them. And as we continue, remember we are on Radio RFM, Europe's #1 African station. And in case you need any help with advertisement, you see the information on the screen. You can contact us and you can let us know how we can help you. And if you missed anything for any live stream that you missed, you can visit our own page and you'll get the information that we have a lot of very wonderful shows that we've done in the past, and you will enjoy, I'm sure, going through them. So you can also find us on Facebook, Radio RFM. You can find us on Instagram, Radio R 99.2 FM. You can find us on Twitter at Radio RFM, and also TikTok. We are quite modern, so you'll find us. And I am really very, very happy that you're part of us. And as we continue to discuss, think about it. What can you change? What has been going right? What has not been going right in your communication with your offspring?
The listeners agree. The message is clear.
Here we go.
The best radio station to listen to this year.
It's the best. It's the best. It's the best music. Best tunes. Because they got the best music.
Live from Stuttgart City, Germany.
99.2 Radio RFM.
Your home of African music.
We play only your choice.
Mambo vipi, naitwa Mimi Mars aka the Sugar Queen kutoka East Africa, Tanzania, kupitia 99.2 FM Radio R. Enjoy.
Naitwa Stopper the Rhyme Maker, the bad rapper, the RCD Dan Dada.
Watu wangu kupitia 99.2 Radio R live from Germany.
Yeah, this is Linux Sandem Jada Jada.
Naitwa Matan, msanii wa nyimbo za kizazi kipya nchini Tanzania.
Hello, mambo vipi, what's up? Naitwa Lino Sanga all the way from 255 Tanzania.
Yeah, ni Zedanto hapa ndani ya Radio R.
Yo, tunaitwa Africa Music.
Yo, bwana inakuaje watu wangu, Lisho Boy is a business live and direct kutoka Mbeya City. Unasikiliza Radio R au sio 99.2 au vipi bwana?
99.2 FM.
99.2 FM.
Live from Stuttgart City, Germany.
Real World presents
taking you on a music journey around Africa and the world.
The station with the best music.
99.2 FM. This is Radio Ara.
This is Radio Ara,
home of African music.
Come to the water, come to the water, come to the water of life. Jesus is the water. Jesus is the water of life. Thirsty? Are you longing for a drink? Is your life so dry? Jesus is the water of life. Come to Jesus. He'll flood your life with joy. Come to the water. Come to the water. Come to the water of life. Jesus is the water. Jesus is the water. Jesus is the water of life. Come to the water. Come to the water. Come to the water of life. Jesus is the water. Jesus is the water. Jesus is the water of life. Are you hungry? Are you longing for some bread? Is your life so dry?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're back again as we continue talking about this, the how, and actually we talked about the what and the why, because communication, if it's done right, it can ease a lot of issues. It can bring a lot of peace in the family, even in relationship. You know, when we can talk, and a husband is always saying to his wife, "Oh, baby, I love you, sweetheart. This, have you eaten? Have you, communicating positive things." There's positive vibe in that marriage. Actually, I don't think someone who is communicating positive can bring negative. I mean, in most cases, in normal cases, there's positive vibe coming out. Then the wife will even make his favorite meal. He will even make the beddings in his favorite color. She will even do everything that he likes because, the communication is nice, is beautiful, is very balanced, and for the children as well. We don't have to always call them mommy, whatever. I know that you don't have to, but that child needs to know that you're really there. You're there for that child. And I'm talking about communicating with that child and letting that child communicate with you. The how, I just mentioned how we did it. It's not a must that you do it how we did it, but you can look at it in your own family setting. If you're a single mother, if you're a single dad bringing up your children alone without the mother, if you're maybe a relative bringing up your siblings, kids, or even if you're grandparents taking care of the children, the generation gap makes it even more complicated. And if you're also fostering adoptive parents, or if you are having your own biological family with you, if you could make it to communicate with your husband and you're not biologically related to him, then I think you can also make it to bring up your children and communicate with them in a loving way. Sometimes the way we communicate is really, really, really scary. So, and this is what I wanted to talk about this. We are almost at the end. We still have some minutes, but I wanted to talk about how we communicate. Sometimes we are like, I don't know, we are very, very aggressive. How we talk with the children. Sometimes they may even end up feeling worthless. We may kill dreams with what we communicate with our children. And sometimes maybe a child went to school and got some bad notes, and you don't know why this child got some bad notes. So they will come with a report form. They're excited a bit, or maybe scared, depending on how you normally react to it. And the child will even, I remember some of them even would say, the cow ate the report form. If you grew up in the village, the cow ate it. So, of course, what will the parent do? The report form was eaten by the cow. So, he had no chance, unless they were friends with the teacher. But sometimes these actions, when the parents are so strict and so aggressive on the child will not even want to share. Even maybe that child was sick that day, and maybe at home something was wrong. Maybe he had not eaten well or drank well, and that day something was wrong, and that's why maybe the child did not make it. But this child has no chance of explaining, because the moment you see that paper, you're already raining fire and brimstone, and that child feels like he's in Armageddon and the war has started, and the child will just slip away and go and hide, and the communication is not well. In some cases, even the children don't get a chance to say something. They will be beaten right away before the moment that paper is there and they see whatever notes, the parents start beating or whatever, and that is really, really wrong. It is wrong. You're communicating to that child. Never ever make a mistake. Never ever have a weakness. Never. Everything has to be perfect. Who is perfect in this planet? No one on this planet is perfect. Even if that child is someone who is very bright, he will not always have all notes being perfect. You know, some of the children can have good notes, but then things may change and then suddenly they're not doing as well. So why be so cruel to your own blood? My goodness. Just try to understand sometimes. Just like you as a parent, sometimes you have bad days and you go to work and you cannot do as well at work. Just think about this child. This child could be having the same situation, but in a different way. And that's why maybe he's not performing well. Maybe even the reason is something you can solve with him if only you listened to that child. If only you try to find out together what is the reason. Maybe that child has a weakness in calculations, in mathematics or whatever. You can find out the reason. Maybe the child can tell you, Mom, I read. Like me, I was stupid in science. It's my friend. Science, physics, chemistry, and biology. These were my horror whatever in high school, and I really read. I would read even with candles when our generator was off at 10 in Garbatula High School. That's where I was. So we had a generator. We didn't have electricity throughout. Our generator went on 6 in the morning and it was off at 10 in the night. Now you are here in 4th year and you are supposed to study for exams, and we are told you have to learn until you can't anymore. And me being Streber, they call it in Germany, being someone who always want to have good notes, I was used to it. In class 1 to 8. I was always number 1. So I thought even in high school it will continue like that until I met physics and mathematics and biology and chemistry. And then I realized things are bad. So then I would still read and learn, and I tell you, it did not help. Now, let's say my parents would, come and beat me for every note. I would be dead by now. So sometimes you try. I mean, I'm not excusing myself, but I really try to learn. I learned even with candles. Generator was off at 10. Mimi ndio huyo with my candles. I had a friend, she's called Kalunda. We used to take our candles and we learn in secret in the night until 3 in the morning. You think I got better in physics and chemistry? Now I'm confessing here openly. I did not. And I'm thankful that I did not get beaten for my notes. And I tried. And some of our children are trying their best. They are really trying, but it's not their strength. They are really trying. They are learning with candles, with everything, even meeting with friends to learn. It's just not getting into this brain. And then you come and beat this child. My friend, are you doing that child a favor? You're not helping that child, because if that is not his strength or her strength, even if you beat his brain into porridge, it will not change the situation, my friends. So let us sometimes try to figure out what is the I'm not excusing laziness, but I'm saying, and I was not lazy, I tried really. I really tried, because I was used to getting good notes, and this one was not working no matter how hard I learned. These formulas didn't get into my brain, even today. Anyway, so even if the child tries how hard and it's not working, why don't you find a solution? Try to understand the talents or the gifts of this child. Maybe this child is just not a science person. Maybe this child is not an arts person. He's not someone who is gifted in topics, in languages or whatever, or physics or whatever. And try to find, maybe you have someone who can do tuition with that person to help just to push that child and be satisfied with what he can achieve with his ability. It's not the end of the world if your child is not having best notes in physics, best notes in English. If that is not his talent area, even if you beat him to pulp, he will not change. So let the child communicate with you. Give him a chance. Ask him, how is he faring with this subject? How is it? Is it easy? Try to understand his world. Try to put yourself in his shoes. Try to listen to his worries. And maybe it will be a better solution than beating up that child or even beating with words. Sometimes some of us, we were told even before we knew what a job is, you will never achieve anything. And you are still at the beginning. you are wewe bure sana. Wewe ni kichouji or whatever. I don't know if any of you have experienced it, but this is so mean when you hear from your parents these words. You're like, who now? If they don't believe in me, if they don't even try to understand me, who on this planet? And you grow up feeling worthless. You grow up feeling useless. You grow up feeling like you cannot amount to anything, no matter what you do. So, parents, is it a winning situation if you let your children from the childhood? You cannot even listen to them. You are telling them you are useless. You will amount to nothing. I've had it. I've had parents tell their children that. This is so dangerous for a child. You're killing the ego of that child. You're killing the morale of that child. You're killing the feelings of this child. You're killing the abilities even for him to be motivated in things that are difficult. It's not fair, excuse me. It's not fair. So let's not just think that everyone has to achieve everything for them to make it in life. Some children may not be gifted academically, but maybe in a technical area, very gifted and very promising. So instead of killing your child's motivation with words, try to build up that child. Understand, listen to him. Why is it getting 20 marks in physics? Try to understand. Has he learned? Has he taken enough time to study? Has he taken enough time to try to understand the formulas? Try to understand that child. Don't just judge the child just like that. Try to understand that child first. Don't judge right away and blame that child for all the failures before even you understand what that child is going through. So it is very important to listen, really willingly listen and understand what that child is trying to say. Listen to what are his worries before you judge him to doom and to nothingness and uselessness. Let us learn to listen, my fellow parents. Let us learn to listen. Let us learn to motivate our children. I do not know how you have been doing it. I tried my best until now. Mine are growing. I hope they will not be telling horror stories later when they are grown-ups. But actually, no one will be a perfect parent. No matter how hard you try, you cannot be 100% right and correct in everything. But you can try to do the best you can to achieve some good communication with your children. You can try. It's a trial. Every day is a trial. You make a mistake yesterday, today you try better, more. And tomorrow, and every day that you get a chance, try more to improve on your communication. Let your child know that you are listening. Let your child know that you are listening to his needs, to his fears, to his wishes as well, because it's so, so important.
This is Radio.
So ladies and gentlemen, we're back again. As we conclude on this important topic, I would like to remind you that you're listening to Radio RFM in Stuttgart, Germany, Europe's #1 African station for Afronews, Afrobeats and world hits and everything that concerns diaspora life. We have everything on screen, so if you need to advertise with us, you have the contacts there, and also you can visit our homepage www.cradior.com. And anytime we have the live shows, you also can call into the studio and communicate with us. It's really been a very, very encouraging time talking with you, discussing with you all these topics that concerns us, our life in diaspora. It's not easy as parents sometimes. It's not an easy job to be a parent because you're helping form a human being. And it's not easy if we ourselves are not easy to take care of and to form. And I think our Creator must be wondering how even we are supposed to be doing our things right when we don't listen. So sometimes we should be merciful to our children, to our offspring, because they're not any different from us. They are sometimes as stubborn as we are and rebellious as we are. and they need to be listened to. Just like we go with prayers and hope that God listens to us, we should also be willing and graceful enough to our children to listen to them. And the main thing is that they need to know that they are being listened to. If a child comes and tells you something and you send him off and he feels like no one stands with me on this world, this is not right, because you are the refuge for that child. You are actually like the representative of his creator on this planet, and the child needs you to know that he is not alone. If a child is not taken care of, even with that emotional level, emotional needs at home, then that child really feels lost and feels not taken care of. So it doesn't matter what expensive things you buy for that child. It doesn't matter how nice and beautiful the home is. It doesn't matter if you have 2 or 3 house girls, a shamba boy and a driver and everything. If you're not listening to your child, that child is really feeling lost. Because at the end, the child needs to know that it's loved in all ways, not just in one aspect. We cannot be perfect. We cannot do everything perfect, but we can try to do it right. We can try to manage it on a daily basis. If you're a believer, you can be praying with your children. If you are someone who just lives with philosophy and whatever, listen to your children, whatever reason you may be having. But your children are your responsibility first. Don't expect the teachers to train them. Don't expect the neighbors to train them, especially in diaspora. Your own luggage is your own. So your children are yours. The neighbors, they may see even your child breaking into someone's house and they'll just look. They will say, it's not my children, so the parents. And maybe that child needed something and you did not give it, or you hid it, or you did whatever, and that child does something because you're not listening. It's you and your children. So we are the first address, actually, where the children need to know they're taken care of, they're listened to, they are valued, and their worth. Also, their words are worth listening to. So if you wait for the police to train them, if you wait for the people out there to train them, if you wait for school to train them, the social worker in school, because we have these facilities in our schools, it is also a bit of neglecting your responsibility as a parent if we wait for others to do it, And then when things go wrong, we say, it's the teachers who did not do it right. They had a social whatever worker in school, they did not do it right. Or the kindergarten, they did not do it right. We have the responsibility first as parents. Let's listen. Let's learn to listen to our children. And when they have problems, they will come to us. They will tell us what is eating them, what is itching them. And if there is mistreatment or molestation in the family, they will feel more free to come and talk about such uncomfortable issues if they know you will listen. As long as you're someone who bashes your children when they want to tell you something, even small things, they will not feel free to come to you with big things. They will not. So create that atmosphere. Let us create that atmosphere. Let the children know that we are there for them. We are listening. Let's just open our ears, not just to the gossip from the neighbors, and not only for the gossip from social media, but also for our children, because our home actually is the world near us, is the world that we need to take care of first before we try to heal the world out there. Just like sometimes you will hear people talking out there and you wonder, but this family, actually, they are very strong believers, or maybe the mother is a psychologist, or the father is a teacher, or whatever, and then you wonder, why are the children roaming around creating chaos? And it's just maybe because they are not listened at home. No one is there to listen to them, or no one cares. People are busy making money and saving the world and and teaching the world how to behave. But at home, things are going haywire. So we have to learn that. I know no one can be perfect. No one can be perfect. But sometimes talking is so important, and listening to them. So as we try to listen to our children, remember there are benefits. The main benefits is that child will feel loved and taken care of. That child will feel accepted. That child will feel important. That child is not easy to shake out there, because he knows he has a stronghold at home. He has a safe haven at home, he or she. even if other people don't listen to them out there, they know at home they have a safe place. And they know at home, Mama will listen, Papa will listen, and they know no matter how stupid their ideas are, still someone will listen to them. And that is so, so good for the children. So let's learn to do that. Even if our culture is not strong on that, listening to children, we can build it up, we can improve it, we can really learn. And let me say, some people think the only way of disciplining children is screaming at them and beating them. It's not. Actually, a child you can reason with is easier to deal with as a child who you're screaming at all the time and a child who you're beating all the time. And as a reminder, in this country also it's illegal, and I think in many countries in Africa now also it's banned to beat children or physically attack your children or mistreat your children. Is not right. So, and if you don't want also someone to beat you because you didn't do what they wanted, then don't do it also to others, even if they are small. So, friends and listeners out there, let's try our best. Let's learn to do this right. If you don't know how to communicate online, you can always get information. If you are maybe around in Germany, we have this Kenyan Women in Germany Verein or organization. There we have different work groups where you can get help in parenting in different areas of your life. Just go on Facebook if possible and look up Kenyan Women in Germany or QUIG, and they have ways that they can help and support you. And not just that, we have also different areas from the government, set up by the government, the Jugendamt or the Child Care Department. We have also Caritas, we have also Diakonie, they have Beratungsstellen where you can get the help that you may need. And sometimes you're maybe a young parent and it's your first time and you don't know how to do it. Just ask for help. Don't stay alone. Even if you're a single father, a single mother, ask for help. Don't feel that you're alone. And whenever things get hard in this country, if you're in Germany, I don't know, in many other Western countries, you can get help. There's a lot of help for families. And even in issues of bringing up children, you can learn a lot. For me, I try to read a lot and I try to balance because, our case was a bit difficult or different, but we survived also by learning. So anyone can learn to change. If you've been doing things wrong in the past, you can learn to do it right now. And thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this show. And also thank you for being encouraging. Kadada and Curtis Wito, Ndumba Boy Sim, and all the others who've listened wherever you are in Nigeria, even Kerry Taiwo and from Kenya. Thank you so much for listening and be part of this show. We meet again on Sunday next week from 4 p.m. God bless you. Take care. And remember, there's Kingdom Talk Show coming over. So get your Bible and get a comfortable place and get ready.
Is Radio Ara, home of African music.